In my past life, I was the most obedient blood bag in the family. My parents wanted me to support my brother through school, so I worked 3 jobs. My brother needed money to get married and buy a house, so I emptied my savings. They said I was tough and unlucky, so I deserved to give more. It wasn't until I lay dying on my sickbed that a wandering Taoist revealed the truth. Young lady, all your good fortune has been drained by your closest kin. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn back to the dinner where my brother was asking for money to buy a car. This time, I could see grayish-white currents of energy being siphoned from me with every word they spoke. I put down my chopsticks and smiled as I said, I can give you the money, but you'll have to sign a loan agreement with a 50% interest rate. Watching the gray energy churning above their heads due to greed, I silently opened the fortune ledger in my mind. This lifetime, for every bit of luck you've drained from me, I'll make you repay it with interest, using your entire lives. Just before I died, a strange man entered the hospital room, an old man in tattered Taoist robes. The nurse tried to shoo him away, but he stared at me for a long time, shaking his head and sighing. Young lady, you shouldn't have met such an end, he said. What a pity, all your good fortune has been completely drained by your closest kin. Fortune, drained, I wanted to ask, but no sound came out. Your parents, your siblings, even that useless nephew of yours, they're all feeding off your luck. The harder you work, the better they live. The more you give, the worse off you become. The old man leaned in, lowering his voice. Remember this in your next life. Luck isn't something you give away for free. You have to charge interest. And then I died. When I opened my eyes again, I was sitting at the dining table. The familiar living room, the familiar aroma of home-cooked food, and the familiar faces across from me, my dad, my mom, my younger brother Lin Chang, his wife Wang Meiwan, and their 10-year-old son Lin Xiaobao. Vivi, what are you spacing out for? My mom placed a piece of braised pork in my bowl. Hurry up and eat. I need to discuss something with you after dinner. I lowered my head to look at my phone. The date displayed, September 12th, 2021. I was reborn 2 years ago, back to that night that changed my life. In my previous life, it was after this meal that I agreed to mortgage my small apartment to buy Lin Cheng a new car. He said he needed to look respectable for his business, or clients would look down on him. My parents chimed in, family should support each other. Support, I had been supporting them for 20 years, from working at 18 to pay for Lin Cheng's education, to handing over money to the family every month after I started working, to saving every penny to buy an apartment, only for it to become the family's emergency fund that could be tapped into at any time. And what did I get? 37 years old, less than 50,000 in savings, unmarried, childless, and only a body full of illnesses. Just before dying, Lin Chang was still calling to urge me, sis, little Bao wants to sign up for an international summer camp, 38,000. Do you still have any money? Wei Wei, my dad knocked on the table. Did you hear what your mom said? I lifted my head, my gaze sweeping over each person. Then, I saw it. There was a faint flow of air, moving from my direction toward each of them. The airflow was gray, like smoke, very thin but continuous. When Lin Cheng spoke loudly, the airflow thickened. When Wang Meiwan poured me a drink with a fake smile, several strands of the airflow split off. Even when Lin Xiaobao gnawed on a chicken leg, smacking his lips, a wisp of the airflow drifted toward him. Is this, the luck being drained away? Sis, you don't look too well, Lin Cheng said insincerely. Is work too tiring? If you ask me, you should just quit that job. 8,000 a month isn't even enough for me to close 2 deals. In my past life, hearing this would have only made me feel wronged, but now it just seems laughable. I'm not feeling too well. I put down my chopsticks. What do you need to discuss? My mother immediately chimed in. It's like this. Chemzi recently landed a big client, but they care about the car. His old domestic car is embarrassing to drive out, so he wants to switch to an Audi. He's still short 150,000 for the down payment. What about that apartment of yours, mortgage loan? I asked. Exactly. Lin Cheng's eyes lit up. Just a loan of 150,000, and I'll handle the monthly payments, sis. Don't worry, once this deal goes through, I'll redeem it for you right away. In my past life, I believed that too. And what happened? The monthly payments were delayed for 3 months, the bank's collection calls came to me, and in the end, I had to use my year-end bonus to cover the shortfall, and that Audi became Wang Meijuan's personal shuttle for picking up and dropping off the kids. I looked at the thickest gray stream of energy above Lin Chang's head and suddenly smiled. Chengzi, I said, how much profit is there in this deal of yours? He was taken aback for a moment, at least. 300,000, all right then. I took out my phone and opened the calculator. I'll give you 150,000, no need to mortgage the house, but this counts as my investment. I want 30% of the profits. The dinner table fell silent. Wang Meiwan was the first to jump up. 30%. Sis, isn't that a bit too harsh? Are we still family if we calculate things so clearly? Exactly. My mother said with a stern face. Vivi, how have you become so calculative? Chengzi is your own brother. The gray airflow surged wildly, rushing toward them. I felt a wave of weakness, but gritted my teeth and steadied my mind. Even brothers should settle accounts clearly. I looked at Lin Chang. If you think it's okay, I'll transfer the money to you right now. If not, forget it. Lin Chang's expression changed several times. This business deal of his was actually completely unreliable. He just wanted to scam me out of money to buy a new car. But seeing my firm attitude, he hesitated. 30%, that's fine too, he said through gritted teeth, but the money has to be transferred immediately. Agreed. I nodded, but words alone aren't enough. We need to write an IOU. Lin Weiwei. My father slammed the table. Do you have any sense of family affection? What's the point of writing an IOU between family members? I looked at the churning gray aura above my father's head and calmly said, Dad, 150,000 isn't a small amount. Writing an IOU is good for everyone. What if Lin Chang's deal doesn't go through? You're jinxing me. Lin Chang glared. I'm just preparing for the worst, I said, turning to him. What? You don't have confidence in yourself. The tactic of provoking someone's pride always worked on people like Lin Chang, who cared deeply about face. Write it then, he said, his neck stiff. But let me make it clear first, this money counts as a loan from you, not an investment. The interest will be calculated at the bank rate. Fine, I agreed readily. Then we'll go with the bank's commercial loan interest rate, 5% annualized. For a 1-year term, at maturity, you'll repay me 156,750 yuan, principal and interest included. I quickly quoted the figure, stunning them all. In my past life, I nearly drained myself dry for this family. In this life, I'm going to start with the very first account and make everything crystal clear. You had it all figured out from the start. Wang Meiwan looked at me with suspicion in her eyes. Professional habit, I replied calmly. I work in finance at a small company, so crunching numbers is second nature to me. The IOU was written on the spot. The terms were straightforward. Borrower Lin Chang, lender Lin Weiwei, loan amount of 150,000 yuan. Annual interest rate of 5%, term of 1 year. If not repaid by the due date, a penalty of 5% per day would be added. I had Lin Chang sign and fingerprint the document, and then asked my parents to sign as witnesses. Sis, is it really necessary? Lin Chang signed his name, his face long with displeasure. Absolutely necessary. I carefully put away the IOU. Now, transfer the money. Using my mobile banking app, I transferred him 150,000 yuan in 3 installments, with each transfer. I felt the murky energy flowing toward him weaken slightly. After the money was transferred, I stood up. I'm a bit tired. I'm heading back first. Hey, the dishes haven't been washed yet, my mom said out of habit. In my previous life, washing dishes and cleaning up after family meals was always my job. They took it for granted. I'm not feeling well today, I said, looking at her. Mom, you wash them, or let Meiwan do it. Hasn't she been saying she wants to do some housework to lose weight? Wang Meijuan's face darkened. I didn't pay any more attention, picked up my bag, and left. Stepping out of the house, I took a deep breath of the night air. Strange, even though I had rejected them and things had ended on an unpleasant note, I felt a noticeable lightness in my body. It was as if an invisible burden that had been weighing me down had been partially lifted. Returning home, my small 40-square-meter apartment, the only asset I truly owned after 10 years of work, though small. It was clean, cozy, and decorated entirely according to my preferences. I took a shower, changed into comfortable pajamas, and sat down at my desk. I turned on the computer and created a new Excel spreadsheet. The file name, Fortune Ledger. In the first row, I wrote, date, September 12th, 2021, matter, Lin Chang borrowed 150,000 to purchase a car, fortune change. Refused to mortgage the property, requested signing an IOU with interest. The nurturing energy flowing toward Lin Chang weakened by approximately 15%. Personal feeling, heaviness in the shoulders and neck has lessened. Note, the IOU has been stored as evidence, with an agreed annual interest rate of 5%, due date September 12th, 2022. At this point, I paused. A ledger can record economic transactions, but how can changes in fortune be quantified? I closed my eyes and recalled the scene at the dinner table. The flow of gray energy seemed to vary in thickness and density as it moved toward each person. The flow toward Lin Chang was the thickest and most concentrated, followed by Wang Meiwan, while the flow toward my parents and children was relatively thinner. Moreover, when I refused them, the energy flow would weaken. When I stood firm, the flow would even briefly cut off. Perhaps I can record it this way. I added a column next to the table, estimated strength of fortune flow, level 1 to 10. After today's entry, I add, pre-meal estimation, Lin Chang, level 8, continuous strong absorption, Wang Meiwan, level 6, intermittent absorption, parents, each level 4, stable absorption, Lin Xiaobao, level 2, unconscious contamination, post-dinner assessment, Lin Chang, reduced to level 5, due to the transaction being established, transformed into a debt relationship. With a change in the nature of absorption, Wang Meiwan, reduced to level 3, dissatisfied but helpless, parents. Each reduced to level 2, angry but temporarily unable to take action, Lin Xiaobao, still at level 2, no change, personal status change, fatigue, minus 20%, financial pressure, plus 15%, but converted into interest-bearing debt, psychological burden, minus 30%, save the file, encrypt it. After finishing all this, it was already 11 p.m., I lay in bed, but felt no sleepiness at all. On the first day of my rebirth, I changed one thing, but I know, this is just the beginning. The Lin family, these bloodsuckers, won't let me go just because of an IOU. They will use family ties to bind me, moral accusations to blame me, and persistent pestering to continue sucking blood from me, and I, with this ability to see the flow of fortune, will settle accounts with them one by one. Not only will I settle the financial accounts, but also the fortune accounts of these stolen 20 years, the Taoist said. Interest must be charged. Very well. I will collect it. They will repay with what they care about most, money, face, a comfortable life, even their self-proclaimed good luck. Outside the window, the city lights flicker. My new life begins with this fortune ledger, and the first repayment date is exactly 1 year from now. Lin Chang, you better work hard. I closed my eyes, a cold curve forming at the corner of my mouth. The next day was Monday. I go to work as usual. Working in finance at a small trading company, the salary isn't high, but it's stable, and most importantly, it's close to my apartment, just a 20-minute commute. In my past life, I poured all my energy into work, thinking I could earn a little more to help out at home, but what was the result? Promotions and raises never came my way because I had heavy family responsibilities that might affect my work commitment. When colleagues took leave, it was for personal reasons, but when I did, it was family matters again, this time. I won't be that foolish anymore. At 10 in the morning, my mother's call comes right on time. Vivi, what was wrong with you last night? She started with a complaint. It was just a family dinner, and you made it so tense. Chenzi is your own brother. You should help him. I looked at the report on the computer screen and replied calmly, Mom, I did help him. 150,000 yuan. That was a loan. And with interest, her voice rose. What will people think if this gets out? They'll say you're obsessed with money, even scheming against your own brother. I could almost see the gray, tense energy trying to travel through the sound waves from the other end of the phone. I moved the phone a little further away from my ear. Mom, even brothers keep clear accounts. That's an old saying, I said. Besides, if Chenzi really has the ability, why would he be afraid of not being able to repay such a small amount? Or, do you not have confidence in him? That hit her where it hurt. Lin Chang is my mother's pride and joy. In her eyes, her son is perfect in every way. It's just that luck hasn't been on his side. Who said that? Chenzi definitely has the ability, she immediately retorted. He's sure to succeed this time. That's good, I said, following up. Once he makes money and pays me back with interest, won't all this gossip stop? Mom, I have a meeting to attend now, so I'll hang up first. Without waiting for her response, I ended the call. The gray airflow on the screen flickered for a moment and then cut off. I let out a sigh, feeling a sense of relief as my ears finally quieted down. At lunch in the cafeteria, my colleague Xiao Zhou leaned over and said, Sister Weiwei, you look great. What did you do over the weekend? Xiao Zhou works in administration at the company and is 5 years younger than me. She has a cheerful personality. In my past life, I was always busy with family matters and rarely interacted with colleagues. Later, when I fell ill and left my job, she was the only one who came to visit me in the hospital. I rested at home. I replied with a smile. How about you? I went hiking with my boyfriend, and I'm exhausted. She stuck out her tongue. By the way, I heard the assistant manager position in the sales department has opened up, and a lot of people are eyeing it. Assistant manager, I remember now. In my past life, this position ended up going to a male colleague, supposedly because he had children to support and was under a lot of pressure. As for me, because I was unmarried and childless, unstable, and likely to get married and have children in the future, which could affect my work. I didn't even make it past the first round of interviews. How ironic. Sister Weiwei, why don't you give it a try? Xiao Zhou said. You have the strongest professional skills and enough seniority. My heart stirred. Yes, why not give it a try? In my past life, I always felt I wasn't good enough and gave opportunities to others. In this life, I'm going to fight for it, not just for the money, but also for that sense of pride. Let me think about it, I said, in the afternoon. I went to see Director Lee, the head of finance, a professional woman in her 40s. Director Lee, I'd like to apply for the position of deputy manager in the sales department. I got straight to the point. Director Lee was somewhat surprised. The sales department, you have a finance background. I've been with the company for 6 years and have handled accounts for all departments. I'm very familiar with the sales process, customer structure, and cost-profit dynamics. I handed over the prepared materials. This is the sales data analysis report I compiled, along with optimization suggestions for the current business processes. I stayed up all last night working on the report. Having been reborn, I have a clear understanding of the company's challenges and opportunities over the next 2 years. Mr. Lee flipped through the pages, his eyes growing brighter. How did you obtain this data? I analyzed it from the annual reports over the years, I said. Mr. Lee, finance shouldn't just be about bookkeeping, it should empower the business. I believe I can be a good bridge in that regard. She pondered for a moment. Your idea is good, however, the competition for this position is fierce, and over in the sales department, Director Wang, I'll make him see my value, I said confidently. As I left Mr. Lee's office, I felt the gray currents flowing toward the office. Those stemming from my past non-confrontational and timid luck were beginning to turn. They began to flow back, though faintly, but in the right direction. Before leaving work, I received a WeChat message from Lin Chang. It was a photo of him standing next to a brand new Audi, smiling with pride and satisfaction. The caption read, "Sis, got the car, thanks, I'll take you for a spin sometime." I didn't reply. I saved the photo and then made an entry in the Book of Fortune. Date, September 13th, 2021. Event, Lin Chang shows off new car, fortune change. Due to the vehicle purchase, using my loan, his personal vanity/show-off fortune briefly strengthened, +3 levels, but the foundation is unstable. The emotional blackmail energy flow toward me has temporarily calmed. Note, retain evidence of showing off. The vehicle is a depreciating asset. Its value will depreciate to less than 120,000 yuan after 1 year. Loan risk has increased. Just finished writing it down. Wang Meijuan's call came in. "Sis, the car's been picked up. You saw the photos." "Right," her voice was sickeningly sweet. "Chemzi is so happy, he says it's all thanks to you." I responded indifferently. Sis, there's one more thing I'd like to trouble you with." She got to the point. Xiaobao's school is organizing some parent career sharing event, asking parents with unique experiences to give a talk. "Chemzi, and I don't have much to share, but you're a white-collar worker with broad experience. Could you go in our place? In my previous life, I also encountered this situation. I took time off to go, carefully prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and gave a talk to the children on the mysteries of numbers. It went very well, and the teacher even praised Little Bao. What was the result? Little Bao came home and said, "My classmates all said my aunt is amazing and asked me what my parents do." I felt too embarrassed to say when Wang Meiwan found out. "Instead of being grateful," she said sourly, "what are you showing off for? You're making the child feel inferior." A classic case of a little kindness is appreciated, but too much is taken for granted. "I've been really busy lately, competing for a management position," I said. "I can't spare the time, just one afternoon. Sis, please help me out." Xiaobao has already bragged to his classmates about it. She started guilt-tripping me. A child's matters are the most important, as his aunt, Meiwan. I interrupted her. "Xiaobao's parents are you and Lin Chang. The primary responsibility for a child's education lies with the parents. If you feel your jobs aren't glamorous enough, you can communicate honestly with your child or work on improving yourselves, instead of always expecting others to step in." There was silence on the other end of the line. A grayish current of air was churning violently. It was anger and resentment. "Sis, that's really hurtful, don't you think?" Wang Meijuan's tone turned cold. "I'm telling the truth." I stood my ground. "Is there anything else? I need to work overtime." Hung up the phone. Refreshing. I walked to the window and looked down at the bustling traffic below. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the entire city. Refusing feels so damn good. I worked overtime until 8 p.m. to finish the presentation PPT for the sales deputy manager position. On my way home, I stopped by a bookstore and bought a few books on management and sales. Since I'm going for it, I need to be fully prepared. It was already past 9 p.m. when I got home. As soon as I walked in, my phone rang again. This time it was my dad. "Vivi, your mom said you really upset her today," he said in a heavy tone. "And Meiwan cried all afternoon, saying you looked down on them." I put down my bag, switched to speakerphone, and listened as I changed my shoes. "Dad, I was just telling the truth. Honesty can't be this blunt. Family members should be considerate of each other," he sighed. "Vivi, Dad knows you're under a lot of pressure and it's not easy being on your own, but you're the most successful one in the family. If you don't help out, who will?" "Here we go again, Dad," I asked calmly. "I'm 33 this year. From the time I started working at 18, it's been 15 years. Haven't I helped enough? Lin Chang's tuition, wedding dowry, down payment for the house, now buying a car. Have you ever calculated how much money I've given in total? My dad was left speechless. I never calculated it, because I felt it was my duty. I continued, but now I understand. I can help, but there has to be a limit. Lin Chang is 30 years old, with a wife and child. It's time for him to stand on his own. I can't support him for the rest of his life. He's your brother. Which is exactly why he should learn to take responsibility. I raised my voice. Dad, if you really care about him, you should push him to grow up, not always rely on me to clean up his mess. Heavy breathing came from the other end of the phone. The gray currents churned, but this time, there was a hint of hesitation mixed in, perhaps deep down. My dad knew I was right, but he just didn't want to admit it. Anyway, your mom is feeling upset, was all he said in the end. I'll give her a call tomorrow, I said. Dad, I'm tired, I'm going to rest now. After hanging up, I collapsed onto the sofa, tired, mentally exhausted, but it's different from the kind of exhaustion that felt like being drained in my previous life. This time, it's the fatigue after a battle. With a hint of relief, I record in the Book of Fortune ledger, date, September 13th, 2021, evening, matter. Continuously rejecting moral coercion from mother, sister-in-law, and father, changes in fortune, 1. Mother's direction, due to the rejection of demands, the emotional blackmail airflow weakens, but the complaint airflow strengthens, overall absorption intensity rebounds from level 2 to level 3, 2, sister-in-law's direction, the comparison/exploitation airflow has been severed, turning into envy/resentment airflow, newly emerged, intensity level 4, requires vigilance, 3, father's direction. Slight fluctuations of reflection appear, a trace of transparency mixed within the newly formed gray airflow. Overall absorption intensity decreased from level 2 to level 1. Personal status, mental fatigue plus 20%, but inner resolve plus 40%, aura stability plus 10%. Note, rebound in resentment or normal reactions during the initial phase of supply cutoff. It is necessary to maintain composure and prevent emotional backlash. After writing, I stared at the words aura stability plus 10%. This is a word I made up myself, but I can feel it. That constant sense of weakness from being drained is indeed easing. It's like a tree long entangled by parasitic vines, slowly beginning to break free. A week later, the competition for the deputy sales manager position began. The meeting room was filled with over a dozen people, company executives, department heads, and several competitors. I was the last one to give my speech. The previous few people either boasted endlessly, listed their qualifications, or played the emotional card. Director Wang from the sales department listened with an expressionless face. When it was my turn, I opened the PowerPoint presentation. Without any self-introduction or unnecessary words, I got straight to the point. Leaders, the topic of my presentation today is how to use financial thinking to increase sales profits by 20%. Mr. Wang lifted his eyelids slightly. I presented 3 key charts. The first chart shows the comparison curve of the company's sales revenue and profit margin over the past 3 years. It clearly indicates that while sales have increased, the profit margin has declined. The second chart analyzes the performance and costs of each salesperson. The data highlights several salespeople with high sales but low profit margins or even negative profits. Third, my solution. Establish a sales contribution value assessment system, incorporating financial indicators such as payment cycles, customer quality, and gross profit margins into the evaluation, and linking them to bonuses. Sales isn't about selling more, it's about achieving higher profits, I said. Using financial data to profile sales, we can eliminate ineffective customers and focus on high-quality business. It is expected that after implementation, sales expenses can be reduced by 15%, and overall profit margins can increase by over 20%. After I finished speaking, the meeting room fell silent for a few seconds. Is the data accurate? Director Wang finally spoke up. All data comes from the company's financial reports and sales system, and can be verified at any time. I confidently replied, how will the performance evaluation system you mentioned be implemented? I have already drafted a preliminary plan and arrangements for the transition period, I said, handing over the prepared documents. Mr. Wang flipped through the pages, and his furrowed brow gradually relaxed. Mr. Li added at the right moment, Lin Weiwei has been in the company's finance department for 6 years and has a deep understanding of the business. I think her idea is very valuable. The results of the competition were announced 3 days later. I succeeded. As the news spread, discussions erupted within the company. Some said I earned it through my abilities. Others claimed I relied on connections, and there were also those who questioned Why does a woman have to work so hard? I didn't care. My salary increased by 50%, but more importantly, I now have a new platform. On the afternoon of the announcement of the appointment, I solemnly recorded in the Book of Fortune ledger, date, September 22, 2021, event, successfully competed for the position of Deputy Sales Manager, change in fortune, 1. Career direction, due to striving and achieving. Personal career/ambition fortune has significantly increased, new golden energy flow, intensity level 6, the original office oppression/being underestimated aura has completely dissipated. 2. Family direction, did not inform family about this matter, however, personal overall aura stability has increased to 25%, and resistance to absorption in the family direction has significantly strengthened. Personal status, confidence plus 60%, energy level plus 40%. Note, career is the foundation of one's standing and the cornerstone to resist luck drain. Continue to consolidate it. Closing my laptop, I stand by the glass window of the office, looking down at the street below. Cars flow like a woven fabric, and pedestrians hurry along. Everyone is rushing, everyone wants to grasp something. And what I must do is firmly grasp my own life. Lin Chang, Wang Meiwan, my parents, they will come again, next time. What excuse will they use? I'm waiting. The ledger pages turn one by one. What is owed to me will eventually be repaid. Outside the window, the autumn chill deepens. My counterattack has only just begun. The days after the promotion were busy and fulfilling. The pace of work in the sales department was much faster than in finance, with daily demands from clients, contracts, and performance pressure. Strangely, though, I didn't feel tired. Instead, I felt a long-lost sense of vitality. I could sense that the newly emerged golden current within me, perhaps it could be called career luck or ambition luck, was growing stronger. It acted like a protective shield, making it harder for the gray draining currents that tried to seep in from the family side to penetrate. In early October, Lin Chang's big deal indeed fell through. He called me, sounding irritated. Sis, that client is such a jerk. Changing his mind at the last minute, the deal didn't go through. I was in the office, reviewing a sales contract while replying to him. Oh, that's a shame, what a shame, he complained. I spent nearly $10,000 on meals and entertainment, all down the drain. I stay silent. Part of the down payment for that Audi came from my money. Sis, his tone softens. Look, could you give me some extra time on that loan? I'm tight on cash right now, and the monthly payments are really weighing on me. Here it comes. Just as expected. How much extra time? I ask. Half a year, no, a year. Once I find new clients and make some money, I'll pay you back right away. A year. In my past life, he was just like this, delaying again and again until it all came to nothing. Chenzi, I put down the pen in my hand. The IOU clearly states a 1-year loan period. It's only been a month now. If you're really in a tough spot, I can point you in a direction. What direction? Sell the car, I said calmly. The Audi A4. Driven for just a month, selling it now will get most of the money back, return the money from the sale to me, and what's left will be enough for you to buy a basic car and still have some for emergencies. Heavy breathing came from the other end of the phone. Sell the car, sis, are you kidding me? I just bought it. How can I sell it now? What would people think? Always caring about face. Forever valuing reputation over practicality, then stick to the contract. My tone turned cold. Pay the interest on time every month, and repay the principal plus interest in full by September 12th next year. It's in black and white, with your signature on it. Lin Weiwei, are you even my sister? He roared. I'm in this state, and you're still pushing me. A surge of gray energy rushed through the airwaves, carrying anger and resentment, but on my end, a golden protective shield held firm, blocking it all. I am your sister, which is why I lent you money in the first place. I said calmly, but even brothers keep clear accounts, and you agreed to sign the IOU yourself. Lin Chang, you're 30 years old now. It's time you learned to take responsibility for your own choices. The phone was slammed down hard. Listening to the busy tone, I smiled. Opening the fortune ledger, I recorded, date, October 8th, 2021, matter. Lin Chang's request for a loan extension was denied. Changes in fortune. 1. Lin Chang's direction, due to the rejection of his request. A resentful energy flow erupted, intensity level 7, but a guilty conscience energy flow simultaneously emerged, newborn gray mixed with chaotic ripples, causing his overall aura to become chaotic and unstable. 2. Personally, successfully resisted emotional manipulation, career protection shield stability plus 5%. Note, first direct financial conflict. Anticipated that she would turn to put pressure on parents. Sure enough, my mom called that very night. This time, she didn't directly scold me. Instead, she cried, Vivi, Mom knows it's not easy for you, but Chenzi is your brother, and he's having a hard time right now. Car loan, mortgage, little Bao's schooling, Meiwan is unemployed, can't you just help him? A typical tactic of feigning poverty. Mom, how can I help? I asked. My monthly salary is just that much, and I have my own life to live. What about your apartment? Isn't there still a mortgage? Why don't you move back home and rent out the apartment? Using the rent to support Chenzi, I was so angry at these words that I laughed. Mom, do you think this is appropriate? I don't live in my own house, rent it out, and give the money to my brother. Then where am I supposed to live? Isn't there space at home? Your old room is still reserved for you, she said matter-of-factly. It's so much better for the family to live together, and we can take care of each other. More like going back to be a free nanny. In the later years of my previous life, I did move back home for a while, and what happened? I paid for living expenses, did all the housework, and had to listen to their constant complaints. In the end, I had a big fight with Wang Meiwan over disciplining Xiaobao and was kicked out. Mom, let's not bring this up again, I said firmly. I won't rent the apartment, and I certainly won't move back. Lin Cheng's problems are his own to solve. At 30 years old, it's time he grew up. How can you be so heartless? My mother finally dropped the pretense. I raised you for nothing. If I had known you'd turn out like this, I might as well what? I cut her off, might as well not have given birth to me, or might as well have let me grow up like Lin Cheng, sucking the lifeblood of the whole family. On the other end of the phone, there was a deathly silence. The gray, absorbing airflow instantly weakened, replaced by a sense of shock and fear. They probably never expected that their daughter, who had always endured everything, would say such things. Mom, I'm tired. I'm hanging up now. I ended the call myself. After hanging up, my hands were trembling. It wasn't fear, it was the physical reaction after anger, suppressed for too long, finally erupted. I continued to record in the ledger. Date, October 8th, 2021, evening, event. Rejected mother's proposal of using the house to support my younger brother. Fortune change. 1. Mother's direction. The emotional blackmail airflow suffered a heavy blow, its intensity plummeting from level 3 to 0, 5, resulting in a brief blank period. A new shock/confusion airflow emerged, intensity level 2, myself. After intense emotional fluctuations, the awareness of self-boundaries became unprecedentedly clear. The protective shield briefly cracked but quickly repaired itself, ultimately increasing its stability by 10%. Note, a critical breakthrough. For the first time, the shackles of self-sacrifice were completely severed. It is anticipated that the family system will experience greater turbulence. Over the next week, my family indeed did not contact me. Peace and quiet. I poured all my energy into my new job. The veteran employees in the sales department initially didn't accept me, thinking that with my finance background, I didn't understand the business. I let the data speak for itself, optimized contract solutions for 2 problematic clients, and helped the department earn over 100,000 yuan in additional profit. Manager Wang's gaze toward me gradually changed. In mid-October, the company distributed quarterly bonuses. Thanks to the effectiveness of my new plan, the overall bonus for the sales department increased by 20%. As the deputy manager, I received a substantial income. I didn't tell anyone. With that money, I enrolled in an MBA training course and bought a few decent professional outfits. Clothes make the man, and so does the aura. One day at the end of October, while I was working overtime, the receptionist said someone was looking for me. It was Wang Meiwan. She carried a thermal container. Beaming with a smile, Sis, Mom made chicken soup and asked me to bring it to you. She said you work hard and need to nourish your body. The weasel goes to wish the hen a happy new year. I led her into the meeting room. Sis, your office is so big. She looked around, unable to hide the envy in her eyes. Do you need something? I asked directly. Her smile stiffened for a moment before quickly brightening again. It's nothing major. It's just that Qianzi recently found a new job. Working in transportation, and it's quite tough. I was thinking, since you're a leader at your company, could you maybe help him find something a bit easier? What kind of job? I asked. Just something in an office, like a clerk or administrative work, anything like that. She leaned in closer. The salary doesn't need to be high, 4 or 5,000 is fine. The main thing is stability, with social security. Qianzi said you know a lot of people now. I looked at the swirling gray aura above her head. Greed, calculation, a sense of entitlement. Meiwan, I leaned back in my chair. Lin Cheng graduated from high school with no professional skills or work experience. Even the most basic positions in our company require a college degree. He doesn't meet the requirements. You could talk to the leadership, pull some strings. Why should I pull strings? I interrupted her. Use my professional reputation to pave the way for someone unqualified. Her face flushed red. Lin Weiwei, don't go too far. After all, he's your brother, so he should rely on his own abilities to make a living. I stood up. Take the chicken soup back with you. I don't need it. Also, don't come to my company to discuss family matters in the future. It doesn't look good. Wang Meiwan trembled with anger, grabbed the thermal container, and left. At the doorway, she turned back and glared at me. Just live alone then. See who will take care of you when you're old. The door slammed shut. I stood where I was, taking a deep breath. Who will take care of me when I'm old? In my past life, I took care of them for a lifetime, but who took care of me when I was old? My phone vibrated. It was a WeChat message from Lin Chang. Has Wang Meiwan come to see you? Don't agree to anything she says. That woman just wants me to be a freeloader, I sneered. Husband and wife are like birds in the same forest. When disaster strikes, each schemes for themselves. I didn't reply. But noted in the ledger, date, October 25th, 2021, matter, rejected Wang Meijuan's work request, fortune change, 1, Wang Meijuan's direction, the clinging/exploiting energy flow has been completely severed, transforming into intense envy and resentment, intensity level 8, a crack has appeared in the symbiotic energy field between her and Lin Chang, 2, Lin Chang's direction. A shifting blame/complaining energy flow has emerged, newly formed, intensity level 3, directed toward Wang Meiwan, 3. Personally, successfully resisted external intrusion, workplace energy purity increased by 15%. Note, internal family conflicts are beginning to surface. Continue to keep your distance and avoid getting involved. In early November, my dad suddenly came to see me, not by phone, but directly to the entrance of my apartment building. When I got home from work, I saw him squatting by the flower bed smoking. His back hunched. Dad, I walked over. He looked up, his eyes bloodshot. Vivi. Dad wants to talk to you. I took him upstairs and made some tea. He held the teacup, silent for a long time. I noticed that the gray aura above his head was very faint and unstable, sometimes grayish-white, sometimes transparent. Your mom is in the hospital. He finally spoke up. I was taken aback. What happened? High blood pressure. From anger. He glanced at me. She hasn't been feeling well since she argued with you last week. And she fainted yesterday. A wave of grey guilt tried to wash over me, but I steadied myself. What did the doctor say? He needs to rest and avoid any stress, he sighed. Vivi, Dad knows. The family hasn't been fair to you. Chenzi is unreliable, and your mom is biased. But after all, we're family. Why let things get to this point? I looked at this man who had been honest his whole life. He was the only one in this family who had ever truly cared for me. But he was weak, always trying to smooth things over. Dad. What do you want me to do? I asked. Go to the hospital to see your mom and say a few kind words. And as for Chenzi, that 150,000 yuan, maybe, let's forget about the interest. Just think of it as helping him out. Here we go again, always asking me to back down. Dad, I put down my teacup. I'll go see Mom. That's fine. But when it comes to the money, there's no room for discussion. Lin Chang signed the IOU voluntarily, and the interest is at the bank's standard rate. I'm not running a charity. My dad opened his mouth but ended up saying nothing. The next day, I went to the hospital. My mother lay in the hospital bed, her face pale. When she saw me, she turned her head away. Mom, I placed the fruit by the bedside. She ignored me. The nurse came in to change the dressing and casually remarked, Auntie, your daughter is so filial, coming to see you every day. She's not my daughter. My mother suddenly became agitated. I don't have a daughter like her. The nurse was startled and quickly finished changing the dressing before leaving. Only the two of us remained in the hospital room. Mom, if you're going to be like this, I'm leaving, I said. Go. If you leave, don't come back, she cried. I've raised you for nothing. Your brother is struggling so much, and you won't help. I might as well die. Here we go again. In her past life, every time she fell ill, she used this trick to force me to compromise, but this time, I'm not falling for it. Mom, if you really care about Lin Chang, you should let him learn to be independent, I said, standing by the bedside. Can you protect him for the rest of his life? If I really stop taking care of him, who else can he rely on? She froze. Tears hanging on her face. Take good care of yourself and get well soon. I turned around. I'll cover half of the medical expenses. That's my duty as a daughter. As for the rest, let's not discuss it. Leaving the ward, I ran into Lin Chang in the corridor. He was unshaven and looked like he hadn't been doing well. Sis, he hesitated, unable to finish his sentence. Mom is inside. Go see her. I walked past him. Sis. He called out to me, that money, I'll start paying the interest next month. The car, I won't sell it. I'll figure something out. I turned back to look at him. In his eyes, there was unwillingness, but even more so, resignation. All right, I nodded. Pay on time, you know the account. Stepping out of the hospital, the autumn sunlight was a bit harsh on the eyes. I recorded in the ledger, date, November 5th, 2021, event, hospital visit, establishing clear boundaries. Changes in energy flow. 1. Mother's direction. The illness kidnapping energy flow has been identified and blocked. Her emotional control ability has significantly weakened, intensity reduced from level 3 to level 1. 2. Lin Chang's direction. The first appearance of accepting defeat/pragmatism fluctuations, newly emerged, gray mixed with a faint silver light, although unstable, it is a positive change. 3. Personal direction. Successfully passed the test of familial morality, inner strength increased by 20%. The stability of the protective shield has improved to 40%. Note, a turning point, the family system was forced to begin adapting to new rules. At the end of November, Lin Chang indeed repaid the first installment of interest, 562.5 yuan. The amount of money is not large, but its significance is profound. This was the first time in his life that he had paid a price for what he had taken from me. When I received the bank notification, I was in the middle of negotiating with a client. I glanced at it. Feeling no emotional stir, in the evening, I received a WeChat message from him, interest transferred, I will repay on time next month. I didn't reply, but I noted in the ledger, date, November 28, 2021, item, received the first interest repayment, changes in fortune. 1. Lin Chang's direction, the debt relationship is officially established and begins to be fulfilled. The parasitic attribute starts to transform into a contractual attribute. The chaos/dependency gray in his personal aura decreases by 5%. 2. Personal, received positive economic feedback, the belief that effort will be rewarded is strengthened, and the foundation of financial fortune increases by 5%. Note, a good start, continue to monitor his compliance with the agreement. In early December, the company held its annual meeting. Due to my outstanding performance, I was named the annual outstanding manager and received a bonus of 30,000 yuan. As I accepted the award, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. President Wang personally presented the award to me, saying, Manager Lin has proven that someone with a financial background can excel in sales. It all comes down to mindset and dedication. At that moment, as I looked out at the audience, I suddenly remembered my past life. At the previous year's annual party, I always sat in the corner. Watching others receive awards, I felt I wasn't good enough. Thought there were too many family matters, and had no energy to focus on my career. It turns out it wasn't that I couldn't, it was that I never allowed myself to shine. After the annual party, a few colleagues invited me to go singing. I rarely participated, had a couple of drinks, and felt slightly tipsy. In the taxi on the way home, I looked out the window at the dazzling streetlights and suddenly smiled, laughing and laughing. Tears streamed down, not sadness, but relief. 3 months into my rebirth, I have finally managed to steer my derailed life back on track, bit by bit, and all of this is just the beginning. My phone vibrated, a message from Lin Chang. Sis, Xiaobao needs to sign up for the winter break class, 5,000. Mom asked me to check with you. I wiped away my tears and typed a reply, your own son, you take responsibility, sent, and blocked tonight's message notifications. Outside the car window, the city lights were gentle, my new life. No more debts, no more grievances, there is only a ledger that grows thicker with each entry, and a path that grows wider with each step. The end of the year is always the busiest time for finance professionals. My schedule is packed, year-end settlements, performance reviews, New Year budgets, client appreciation events, MBA classes are also nearing the end of the semester, with papers due, busy, but as fulfilling as a sponge soaked with water, sinking deep and taking root. Lin Chang's monthly interest of 562.5 yuan arrives as punctually as a clock's pendulum. It's not much, but it's regular. I accept it as it comes, without comment. In the ledger, the debt fulfillment rate next to his name gradually climbs from 10% to 30%. After my mother was discharged from the hospital, she kept a low profile for a while. Occasionally, when she called, her tone was cautious and probing, no longer carrying the same self-assuredness as before. Those gray currents of emotional blackmail had grown so faint they were almost invisible. Wang Meiwan fell completely silent. She no longer posted about her Audi or designer bags on social media, instead sharing inspirational quotes like simplicity is true happiness and contentment brings joy. But from Lin Chang's occasional complaints, I knew the couple was in a cold war over money, their child's education, and their mutual disappointment in each other's lack of ambition. I feel like an outsider, observing from a safe distance as this family system, which once drained me, begins to crack after losing its primary source of support. 2 weeks before the spring festival, the company distributed the year-end bonus. My figure was quite impressive, a 6-digit sum after taxes. I didn't tell anyone. With this money, I did 3 things. First, I paid off the remaining mortgage on my apartment. The moment I held the property deed, now entirely in my name. I stood in the empty room for a long time, something I couldn't truly own even until death in my past life. This time, I held it firmly in my hands. Second, I enrolled in an expensive investment and financial management course. The instructor was a retired well-known fund manager from the country, and the classroom was filled with people who were either wealthy or influential. Wearing my most appropriate suit and asking the most professional questions, I didn't show a hint of timidity among a group of middle-aged men and affluent ladies. Third, I went for a comprehensive physical checkup. I wanted to nip in the bud all the health issues that had accumulated from overwork in my previous life. The report came back with all indicators normal. But the doctor advised me to rest more and avoid too much stress. I smiled and agreed. Knowing in my heart that the sources of my stress were being eliminated one by one, on the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month, minor new year, my father called, his tone hesitant in a way I had never heard before. "Vivi, are you coming back for the new year this year?" In previous years, the spring festival had been a trial for me, starting from the 28th day of the 12th lunar month. I had to return early to clean, shop, and prepare the New Year's Eve dinner. Wang Meiwan was a guest, only giving orders without lifting a finger. Lin Chang was a man and didn't enter the kitchen. My mother was the elder, overseeing everything from her seat. I was like a spinning top, working until my back ached, only to hear them complain that the dishes were too salty or too bland, or grumble that the New Year goods I bought weren't upscale enough. When giving red envelopes, I always have to give the most. To my parents, to my younger brother and his wife. To my nephew, what they give me in return are a few light-hearted thank yous and if keep it up next year. "Dad, I have a lot going on at the company this year, so I might not be able to come back," I said. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Your mom misses you," he said, his voice a bit hoarse. "She hasn't fully recovered, and the doctor said she needs to be in good spirits. If you don't come back this New Year's, Dad." I interrupted him. "I'm your daughter. Not an emotional trash can, and certainly not a turtle in a wishing well. If Mom is in a bad mood, she should go to Lin Chang, her precious son. What can I do if I go back, besides doing chores and getting scolded?" The words were harsh, but I had to say them. Another moment of silence. Then, "What do you eat when you're alone outside?" He changed the subject, clumsily expressing his concern. "I'll take care of it." My tone softened. "Dad, you should take care of yourself too. I transferred some money to your card. Buy yourself something nice to eat, and don't give it all to Lin Chang." After hanging up, I transferred 5,000 to him. It wasn't much, just a token of my affection as a daughter, but it certainly didn't exceed 1/10 of what I could afford. After that call, I had a feeling this spring festival wouldn't be very peaceful. Sure enough, on the 28th day of the 12th lunar month, Lin Chang showed up and blocked my way right outside my office building. He was wearing that old down jacket he'd had for years, his hair greasy, dark circles under his eyes. He really did look like he was having a hard time. The Audi parked by the roadside was spotlessly clean, forming an ironic contrast with his disheveled state. "Sis, let's talk." He got straight to the point. I took him to the cafe next to the company. He ordered the cheapest latte and drank it quickly, as if to steel himself. "Sis, it's the end of the year," he said, rubbing his hands together. "A few creditors are pressing me. The car loan and mortgage are suffocating. Little Bao's school is asking for next semester's tuition, 12,000, and you know about Mom, her medicine can't be stopped." I listened quietly without responding. I know I was a jerk before, and I'm sorry. He lifted his head, his eyes bloodshot. "But sis, I'm really at the end of my rope. Could you lend me another 100,000? I have a project coming up in the spring, and I'm sure I can turn things around." I watched the aura above his head, gray strands of desperation and greed intertwined, with a faint trace of golden and wishful thinking. He was gambling, betting on my soft heart, betting that family ties could once again override reason. "Chenzi," I set down my coffee cup. "Do you know how much I earn in a year now?" He paused for a moment, then shook his head. "You don't need to know either," I said. "All you need to know is that every penny I have was earned through my own hard work. It didn't just fall from the sky. The 150,000 I lent you last year was my savings from 10 years of work. You could barely even pay the interest, and now you're asking for another 100,000. I'll pay it back, I swear." "With what?" I asked. "With that big client who fell through? Or this spring project that's still just a pipe dream?" His face flushed red, but he couldn't speak. "Did you sell the car?" I continued to ask, not selling the car, not cutting unnecessary expenses, not trying to increase income, just thinking about coming to me to fill the hole again and again. I laughed. Lin Chang, what do you take me for? Your lifelong ATM? I didn't, he growled. I'm just going through a temporary rough patch. Can't you lend me a hand? I'm your own brother. I already did, I said calmly. 150,000. At a 4.5% annual interest rate, terms more favorable than any loan on the market. It was you who couldn't make good use of that money and instead added to your burden. Now, it's time for you to take responsibility yourself. He glared at me fiercely, his chest heaving. The gray currents surged violently, yet they couldn't penetrate the increasingly stable, pale golden aura surrounding me. Fine, fine. He suddenly stood up. Lin Weiwei, remember this day, if you have any problems in the future. Don't come looking for me. I've never come looking for you. I looked up at him, not in the past, and even less so in the future. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I sat where I was, slowly finishing the rest of my coffee, bitter, but with a lingering sweetness. My phone vibrated. It was a notification from the banking app. Lin Chang's account had just made a 5,000 yuan payment, with the recipient being XX brand Mahjong Parlor. I took a screenshot and saved it in the evidence folder. Gambling, just as I thought. In my previous life, I vaguely heard that he was involved in gambling, but I had no evidence. In this life, he delivered it right to me. I didn't confront him immediately. This card had to be played at the most critical moment. On New Year's Eve, I was alone in my apartment. I prepared 4 dishes and a soup, opened a bottle of red wine, and had the Spring Festival Gala playing on TV, outside the window. Fireworks were dazzling, and the cheerful laughter from the neighbors faintly drifted in, lonely, a little, but compared to being an invisible servant in that lively home in my past life, I'd rather have this peaceful solitude. At 10 o'clock in the evening, my mom still called. The background noise is quite chaotic, with the sound of the TV. A child crying, and Wang Meichuan's sharp complaint, Mom, use less salt, don't you know Chengzi has high blood pressure? Weiwei, my mom's voice sounded utterly exhausted. Have you had the New Year's Eve dinner yet? Eaten, alone. The other end of the phone fell silent. I could almost picture the chaos over there. Wang Meiwan nitpicking the dishes, Lin Xiaobao throwing a tantrum for a phone to play with, Lin Cheng probably drinking in silence, and my dad quietly smoking. That illusion of harmony and happiness I had desperately maintained quickly revealed its tattered foundation after I stepped away. Your brother came back this afternoon and threw a huge tantrum, my mother said cautiously. Did you two have a fight? He wanted money, and I didn't give it to him. 100,000 is indeed a bit much. She actually didn't scold me right away, but he's also having a hard time. Mom, I interrupted her. Everyone has their own difficulties. But who has ever asked about mine? She fell silent again. Mom, Happy New Year, I said proactively. Get some rest early. After hanging up the phone, I walked to the balcony. The midnight bell was about to ring, and the whole city was counting down. 10, 9, 8. I looked up at the night sky and suddenly remembered the old Taoist priest who said my luck had been drained. If he could see me now, what would he say? 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Fireworks shot into the sky, illuminating the entire night. I closed my eyes and made a New Year's wish. May I completely sever all invisible chains. May my fortune flow only for myself. May those who have sucked my blood learn to walk on their own. On the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year, I received an unexpected phone call. She is Wang Meichuan's older sister, Wang Miling. We only met once at the wedding and barely spoke. Vivi, sorry to bother you, she said politely. There's something I wanted to ask you. Please go ahead. Meiwan cried to me, saying Lin Chang has gambling debts outside, and someone came to collect them. She lowered her voice. Do you know about this? A thought crossed my mind. I'm not too sure. Lin Chang and I rarely keep in touch. I just found out myself. I heard he owes over 100,000, and with interest piling up, it's almost 200,000 now. Wang Miling sighed. Meiwan wants a divorce, but she can't bear to leave the child. She asked me to check with you about the money Lin Chang borrowed from you before. Could you give them some more time? They're really at the end of their rope now, so that's how it is. Lin Chang needed that 100,000 to plug the hole from his gambling debts. Sister Miling, I said, the money was borrowed by Lin Chang, and the IOU was signed by him. Now that there's trouble within your family, it's something you need to work out among yourselves. I'm not obligated to pay for his mistakes. I know this is asking too much, she said, somewhat awkwardly, but for the sake of the child, precisely for the sake of the child, I cannot back down, I replied. If Lin Chang doesn't face the consequences of his actions, he'll never learn to take responsibility. In the future, he'll only cause even bigger problems, harming Meiwan and, worse still, the child. Wang Miling fell silent, as if digesting my words. You're right. She sighed after a long pause. I was being foolish. Let's just pretend I never said anything about this. After hanging up the phone, I opened the ledger and updated Lin Chang's status. Date, February 3, 2022. Matter, confirmed Lin Chang's involvement in gambling and debt. Fortune change. 1. Lin Chang's direction. The decadence/speculation airflow is completely exposed and erupts. Intensity level 9. His personal aura is a turbid gray-black, with a collapse vortex appearing at its core. 2. Wang family direction. Wang Meijuan's resentful energy flow begins to shift toward Lin Chang, newborn, intensity level 5. Her sister Wang Meiling shows signs of clarity/distance, newborn pale silver energy flow, faint but distinct. 3. Personally, maintain distance, not involved. Financial claims are clear, unaffected by their personal debts. Note, gambling debts are a precursor to systemic collapse. It is essential to maintain financial boundaries and avoid any form of secondary borrowing or guarantees. After the start of spring, things began to deteriorate rapidly. In early March, Lin Chang's car loan became overdue, and the bank called me. I was the emergency contact. I replied directly, "I am only the borrower's sister and have no financial guarantee responsibility. Please contact the borrower directly." At the same time, I contacted the lawyer I had previously consulted to ask how to protect my creditor's rights in this situation. The lawyer advised, if the other party is insolvent, you should apply for property preservation as soon as possible. That car of his, although it has depreciated, is still worth some money. I had the lawyer draft the documents. By mid-March, Lin Chang had completely lost contact. His phone was turned off, no one was at home, and even Wang Meiwan didn't know where he had gone. The people from the gambling debt side couldn't find him and started harassing my parents. The elderly couple were too scared to leave the house. And my mother's high blood pressure flared up again. This time, my father didn't come to find me. Instead, he directly reported it to the police. After the police intervened, the situation temporarily calmed down. However, the Audi under Lin Chang's name caught the attention of the creditors. In early April, I formally submitted a lawsuit application to the court, demanding that Lin Chang repay the principal and interest of the loan, and applied for property preservation to freeze the transfer of ownership of the vehicle under his name. On the day of the court hearing, Lin Chang finally showed up. He was so thin he looked like a different person, his eyes darting around, unable to meet my gaze. The judge read out the IOU and the transfer records in court. The facts were clear, and the evidence was solid. Lin Chang had no defense. The court upheld all my claims, ruling that Lin Chang must repay the principal and interest totaling over 157,000 yuan within 15 days. If he fails to repay by the deadline, enforcement measures will be taken, including the auction of the vehicle under his name. As I walked out of the courtroom, Lin Chang caught up to me. "Sis, are you really going to drive me to my death?" His voice was hoarse. "I'm teaching you to honor your contract," I said, looking at him. "Sell the car, pay off the debt, and there'll be something left. Find a decent job and start over." "But that's an Audi. I worked so hard to get it." "That's not yours." I cut him off. "It was bought with my money. Now, it's time to return it to its rightful owner." His eyes turned red, whether from regret or anger. "You'll regret this," he said through gritted teeth. "My biggest regret is having been too good to you before," I replied, turning to leave. A week later, the Court Enforcement Bureau contacted me, informing me that the Audi had already entered the auction process. Another 2 weeks passed. The car was sold for 138,000 yuan. After deducting the execution fee and my claim, a few thousand yuan remained, which was returned to Lin Chang as per regulations. In the ledger, I recorded the final entry, date April 28, 2022, item, claim enforcement completed. Changes in fortune. 1. Lin Chang's direction. The parasitic relationship was forcibly severed by law. The superficial/vanity part of his aura dissipated as the vehicle was stripped away, leaving behind a gray and dim remainder, yet unusually heavy. Forced to land, a new survival pressure air current emerged. Intensity level 8. 2. Myself. Completed the first full financial settlement. Received the full principal and interest. The beliefs in contractual spirit and legal weapon materialized, increasing financial fortune foundation by 15%, and aura stability broke through 50%. Note, the first stage has ended, the economic umbilical cord has been cut. Observe his subsequent survival strategies. With the car gone, Lin Chang seemed to have lost the last trace of his vitality. Wang Meiwan finally filed for divorce. I heard the terms were quite harsh. She wanted custody of the child, half ownership of the house. I contributed half of the down payment for that house back then, and she demanded that Lin Chang cover the child's support. Lin Chang disagreed, and the two of them are now caught up in a dispute. My father has aged several more years, but this time, he didn't ask me to help out. My mother no longer calls to cry and complain. She just occasionally forwards some health articles in the family group chat, staying silent as if she doesn't exist. As for me, On a weekend in late spring or early summer, I moved to a new place. The new apartment is in a better neighborhood, larger and brighter. I used my year-end bonus and the money I saved over the past 6 months to pay the down payment, and the loan amount is within my means. On moving day, the sunlight was beautiful. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window of my new home, overlooking the scenery of half the city, on my phone. A notification from the bank came in. The money from selling the car had arrived. I opened the Book of Fortune and turned to the last page, where I wrote a summary. Phase 1, September 2021 to April 2022. Review 1. Economic aspect. Successfully recovered a non-performing debt, completing asset protection. 2. Fortune aspect. Severed the primary sustenance channel, with personal aura recovery exceeding 50%. 3. Family relationships. Complete the identity reconstruction from provider to clear boundary setter. Lessons learned. 1. A written contract is key. 2. The law is the final and most effective line of defense. 3. Emotional stability is the best protective shield. Next stage goals. 1. Consolidate career and increase income. 2. Observe the adaptive outcomes of the family system. 3. Build a new social support network. Closing the laptop, I poured myself a cup of tea. Outside the window, the plane trees are sprouting fresh green leaves, full of vitality. My new life, like this spring, has just begun, and those who once siphoned off my fortune are now paying a belated price for their past greed. The first volume of the ledger has been turned, but I know the story is far from over. After the car was auctioned, the Lin family fell into an eerie silence. The family WeChat group has completely died, with the last message being my mom's forwarded article. Eat these 3 things regularly to keep your blood vessels clear for life. From 3 months ago, no one has left the group, but no one speaks either. Like a forgotten digital tomb, I no longer reach out to them proactively. Every month, I transfer 1,000 yuan to my dad's card on time. Not much, but enough for the old couple to buy some groceries and meat. The note always has just 2 words: filial piety. My dad occasionally replies with received or take care of yourself. Nothing more. This is good. Distance creates beauty, and it also creates safety. My life, however, feels like it's been put on fast forward. The position of deputy sales manager became increasingly secure. I led the team to secure 2 major clients, and the performance report for the 3rd quarter was so impressive that Mr. Wang singled me out for praise at the senior management meeting. By the end of the year, my name appeared on the reserve cadre list. The MBA course has ended, and I have received my certificate. The knowledge I gained from the investment and finance class has been cautiously applied in practice. I used a portion of my savings to purchase index funds and a few well-researched stocks, achieving modest profits. The new apartment is arranged warmly and comfortably. I hired a part-time cleaner to tidy up weekly, freeing myself from household chores and dedicating all my time to work, study, and enjoying life. Yes, enjoyment. That word was too extravagant for my past self, but now, I've learned to go to the gym after work, visit exhibitions on weekends, and plan short trips with friends during holidays. Friends, this is also something new. Zhao Lin is my first new friend. She was a classmate I met in an investment course, running her own design studio, sharp and capable. Once, after class, we had coffee together and talked about family. I casually mentioned a few things. She slammed the table. Damn, it's exactly the same as my family. My brother is a total leech. Shared misery brought us closer quickly. Through Zhao Lin, I met several other women who were either independent entrepreneurs or had reached mid-level positions in large companies. We formed a loose circle, meeting irregularly to share industry information, vent about workplace frustrations, and occasionally discuss relationships. So, you're completely detached from your family now? Zhao Lin asked me during one dinner gathering. Financially, I only cover what's legally required, I said, cutting into my steak. Emotionally, I give nothing. They haven't caused any more trouble. I can't keep fighting anymore. I smiled. With the financial support gone and them realizing I won't fall for emotional blackmail, what else can I do but accept reality? Impressive. Another friend, a lawyer, raised her glass. So many people spend their whole lives unable to cut ties cleanly. I clinked my glass against hers without saying a word. It wasn't easy. Occasionally, waking up late at night, I'd think of my father carrying me on his back to see the Lantern Festival or my mother braiding my hair, and my heart would ache, but that warmth had long been drained by 2 decades of endless demands. The ledger records clearly. By the end of 2022, the money I had spent on the Lin family, with documented evidence, exceeded 800,000, while the intangible labor Emotional drain and opportunity costs were immeasurable. What they owe me can never be repaid. During the 2023 Spring Festival, I went to Sonia. It was the first time I didn't spend the so-called New Year at home. Blue sea, clear sky, sandy beaches, and coconut groves, lying under a sunshade. I scrolled through my social media feed, seeing all sorts of New Year scenes, people showing off their reunion dinners, complaining about relatives pressuring them to get married, sharing stories of returning home. The Lin family made no move at all. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. "Hello, is this a mess, Lin Weiwei?" A middle-aged man's voice asked. "Yes, it is. Who is this?" "I am Director Wang from the XX neighborhood office. Your father, Lin Zhangwo." "Is he your father?" My heart tightened. "Yes." "What happened to him?" "Don't be nervous, he's fine," Director Wang said. "It's just that the elderly couple is facing some difficulties in their daily life now, and they meet the assistance criteria for our community. We couldn't reach your brother, so we had to contact you. When would be a convenient time for you to come and learn more about the situation, difficulties, assistance?" I changed my flight and returned that same day. At the neighborhood office, I saw my father, who looked utterly worn out. It had only been a little over a year since I last saw him, but his hair had turned completely white, and his back was badly hunched. "Dad," I called out to him. He looked up at me, his eyes clouded, taking a long moment to focus. "Weiwei, you're back." Director Wang showed me the documents. My mother had suffered a stroke 6 months ago and was now partially paralyzed, requiring constant care. After Lin Chang's divorce, the house was awarded to Wang Meiwan, because it was proven that I had contributed to the down payment. And Lin Chang was at fault during the marriage. He moved back to his parents' home with the child. However, he didn't have a stable job, working sporadically and earning barely enough to support himself, let alone provide for the family. My father's meager pension had to cover my mother's medical expenses and the household's daily costs, and it was already stretched thin. The assistance the street office can provide is limited. Director Wang rubbed his hands together. "Mainly, we can help you apply for subsistence allowances and some temporary relief, but in the long run, family members still need to share the burden." I looked at my dad. "What about Lin Chang?" "He's sleeping in the room." My dad's voice was very low. "He drank too much again last night." A surge of anger shot straight to the top of my head, but I held it back. "Director Wang, regarding my mother's medical expenses, according to the law, children have the obligation to provide support, and Lin Chang and I should share the costs equally," I said calmly. "Could you please help me calculate the total amount spent from the time she fell ill until now, as well as the out-of-pocket portion after medical insurance reimbursement? I will not withhold a single cent of what I owe." Director Wang was taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to be so straightforward. All right. I'll have someone retrieve the medical records and bills. Furthermore," I continued, "my father and Lin Chang's father are adults with full legal capacity. Their financial difficulties do not fall within the scope of my legal obligations. Of course, as a daughter, I am willing to provide appropriate assistance within my means, but this must be based on clear agreements, not a bottomless pit." My dad suddenly looked up at me, his expression complicated. "Vivi, can't you just..." "Dad," I interrupted him, "I can hire a caregiver to look after Mom, and I can cover half of her medical expenses, but Lin Chang must go out and work to support himself and his son. If he can't do that, I will suggest that the neighborhood committee assist in applying for legal aid to hold him accountable for abandonment and support obligations." The words were cold, but this was the only way to prevent this family from completely collapsing. In my past life, I was soft-hearted and took on everything, and what was the result? My mother's illness grew worse, because Lin Chang didn't take proper care of her. My father was worn down, and Lin Chang took it for granted to rely on his parents and sister. In the end, the whole family sank together. In this life, I will use rules to force them to stand up. Director Wang was very efficient and brought the bill in the afternoon. Over the past 6 months, my mother's out-of-pocket medical expenses amounted to 43,000 yuan. I immediately transferred 21,500 yuan to my father's account and had Director Wang witness it. "This covers everything up to today. For future expenses, we'll settle them monthly, and I'll pay half," I said. "I've already contacted a home service company for a caregiver. Someone will come for an interview tomorrow. I'll cover the first 3 months' expenses, after which Lin Chang must bear half." My dad held the phone, his hand trembling. "Weiwei, thank you." "You're welcome." I looked at him. "Dad, you're getting old too. You should live a few days for yourself. Don't always think about covering for Lin Chang. You can't keep it up." After leaving the street office, I went to my parents' house. The old house I had lived in for over 20 years now carried a heavy smell of mold and medicine. The place was so messy you could hardly walk, with dirty clothes piled in the corner and takeout boxes left on the table, unthrown. My mother lay on the bed in the inner room. When she saw me, her eyes flickered, her lips trembled, but she couldn't form a complete sentence. Half of her face was twisted, and drool trickled from the corner of her mouth. My heart ached, but I quickly hardened it. Lin Chang stumbled out from the next room, reeking of alcohol. He froze for a moment when he saw me. "Sis, how's the job search going?" I asked directly. "I'm still looking." "Found anything yet?" He didn't say a word. Lin Chang. "Your mother is lying here in bed, your father is exhausted, and your son needs to eat and go to school," I said word by word. "You are the only able-bodied man in this family. If you are still a man, you should shoulder the responsibility instead of hiding here drinking to escape." A flicker of shame and anger crossed his face. "You make it sound so easy. Jobs aren't that easy to come by. Delivering food, driving for ride-sharing, working as a security guard. What can't you do?" I retorted. "Are you afraid of losing face, or are you just too lazy?" I'll give you two options," I said, taking out my phone. "First, I can ask someone to find you a proper job, even if you have to start as an apprentice, but you have to stick with it. Second, if you still want to drift through life, I'll call the court right now and apply to change your son's custody. Staying with a father like you would only harm him." Lin Chang's eyes widened. "You wouldn't dare." "See if I dare." I looked straight at him. "Lin Chang, half of your life is already ruined, but Xiaobao still has a future. Do you want to be his role model, or the shame of his future?" These words broke him. He collapsed onto the worn-out sofa, buried his head in his hands, his shoulders shaking. I didn't comfort him. Some tears have to be shed until they run dry. Before leaving, I transferred 5,000 to my dad. "Hire a part-time cleaner to come twice a week. A clean home will help mom feel better. Don't let Lin Chang know about this money." My dad nodded, his eyes reddening. Back home, I recorded this heavy day in my ledger. Date, February 15th, 2023. Matter, family crisis intervention, changes in fortune. 1. Parental direction. Due to illness and poverty, the ability to demand has plummeted to rock bottom. The aura is bleak, but the original parasitic vines have withered extensively. In the father's direction, a faint, transparent current of resignation/clarity has emerged anew. 2. Lin Chang's direction, forced to face reality, the escape shell is shattered, and the aura is extremely chaotic. Fear, shame, anger, and confusion intertwined. The survival instinct is triggered. A faint but sharp silver airflow emerges. 3. Personally, fulfill legal obligations and establish clear boundaries. Consumed some money and energy, but successfully avoided emotional involvement and taking on excessive responsibility. The stability of my aura was impacted, temporarily decreasing by 5%, but the foundation remains unshaken. Note, crisis intervention mode activated. Goal, prevent the entire family from sinking systematically and force Lin Chang to take responsibility. Stay vigilant to avoid being dragged down in reverse. In the following months, I acted like a cold taskmaster, calling my father every week to ask about the situation. Lin Chang finally went to work as an apprentice at a renovation company run by a friend of mine, earning 3,500 yuan a month. It was hard work, but stable. He started bringing money home, not much, but it was a start. A caregiver has been hired, the house is clean, and my mother's spirits have improved a bit. She can now say simple words. My father secretly told me, "Chenzi seems like a different person when he comes home from work. He even knows to massage his mother's legs." "It's about time," I said. In May, my career reached a new peak. The company plans to expand into the East China market. Mr. Wang spoke with me, wanting to transfer me to Shanghai to serve as the newly appointed regional head. "The pressure will be significant, and you'll need to be stationed there long-term, but the opportunities are also substantial." Mr. Wang looked at me. "Take some time to think it over." I didn't agree immediately. Instead, I spent a week conducting research, analyzing the market, the team, and the return on investment. In the end, my response was, "I'll go, but I want to bring 2 people with me, and I'll need a larger budget and greater personnel authority from headquarters." Mr. Wang smiled. "I knew you wouldn't take it on easily. The terms are negotiable." The negotiations went smoothly. In July, I was officially transferred to Shanghai, with a 60% salary increase, combined with performance bonuses. My annual income was heading straight for 7 figures. Before moving, I went back to my hometown. Lin Chang had grown darker and thinner, but his eyes no longer wandered. He was learning plumbing and electrical work, and calluses had formed on his hands. "Sis, I'm going to get my electrician's license," he said. "With the license, I can earn 6,000 or 7,000 a month. Study hard." I handed him an envelope. "There's 5,000 inside. Consider it a loan for your certification training." Right, an IOU, pay it back in a year. He was taken aback for a moment, then took it and nodded. Okay, this time. There was no complaining, no resentment. My dad walked me downstairs and hesitantly said, Vivi, when you're out there, don't push yourself too hard. Be careful. You're on your own, I know. I hugged this old man who had been timid all his life but ultimately chose clarity. Dad, you take care too. Call me if anything comes up, but regarding Lin Chang's matter, you have to let him handle it himself. All right. As the plane soared into the sky, I looked down at the gradually shrinking city below, feeling a deep sense of peace in my heart. Life in Shanghai moves at a different pace. It's fast, fiercely competitive, but also full of opportunities. I rented a high-end apartment in Pudong, with floor-to-ceiling windows facing the Huangpu River. The team was newly formed, full of drive but also experiencing the growing pains of adjustment. I worked over 12 hours a day, exhausted, but watching the numbers on the performance report climb steadily, the sense of accomplishment was real. Zhao Lin came to Shanghai on a business trip and invited me for a drink at a bar on the Bund. Gazing at the dazzling night view, she asked me, "Do you consider yourself successful now?" I thought for a moment. I'd say I've gained a solid footing. Do you regret it, being so ruthless back then? I have no regrets. I swirled my wine glass. If I hadn't cut ties back then, I would be the one dragged down now. How is your family doing now? My mom's condition is stable, and my dad has come to terms with things. Lin Chang is learning a trade and can support himself and his son now. I smiled. See, without me as their blood bank, they didn't perish. Instead, they learned to walk on their own. A cruel mercy. Zhao Lin raised her glass. Necessary cruelty. I clinked glasses. In the autumn of 2023, I met someone. His name was Lu Jingming, 40 years old, and he was a co-founder of a tech company. We met at an industry summit where he was a speaker, and I was a questioner from the audience. My question was sharp, directly pointing out the risks in his business model. He paused for a moment, then smiled. This lady has hit the nail on the head. Shall we discuss this in private? Later, we did talk privately, moving from business models to industry trends, and then to each other's experiences. He was divorced, had no children, and was also a workaholic. We started dating. It wasn't frequent, but every conversation was deeply satisfying. He admired my intellect and sharpness, while I appreciated his vision and honesty. At the end of November, he walked me home. Standing outside my apartment building, he suddenly said, Lin Weiwei, I think I might like you a little. The river breeze tousled his hair, and the streetlights reflected in his eyes, making them look very sincere. I didn't answer right away. I need time, I said. My past is a bit complicated, and I need to make sure I'm whole enough before starting a new relationship. Okay, he nodded. I'll wait for you. As I turned to leave, his back was straight and tall. I looked up and saw a warm, steady stream of pale golden energy above his head, which didn't seem to clash with the aura around me. Back home, I opened my ledger and wrote on a new page, date, November 28th, 2023, event, new phase of life, overall fortune status, 1, personal level, career foundation is solid, with the golden portion of the aura accounting for over 70%, financial situation is healthy. With annual income exceeding 7 figures, new possibilities have emerged in the emotional world, 2. At the family of origin level, the economic umbilical cord has been severed, and emotional dependence has been largely cut off. The parents are aging and ill but have been basically settled, forcing Lin Chang to grow up. The system has shifted from parasitism to difficult symbiosis. 3. Social relationships. Establish a new support network based on value exchange and emotional resonance. Summary. Reborn for 2 years and 2 months. I have basically achieved the first stage goal, regaining sovereignty over my life. The fortune ledger has shifted from a record of defense to a log of growth. The harm is in the past, the scars remain, but they no longer ache. The future holds promise. Closing my laptop, I walk to the window. The Huangpu River is dotted with cruise ships, and the neon lights on the opposite shore shine brightly. This vast city embraces countless people like me, who have struggled, fought, and ultimately found their place. My phone vibrated with a WeChat photo from Lin Chang. He was dressed in work clothes, wearing a hard hat, standing at a construction site, holding a newly acquired electrician's certificate. Below the photo was a line of text, Sis, I got the certificate, I'll pay you back next month. I stared at it for a long time before replying, Congratulations, no rush. Then, I opened my contacts, found Lu Jingming's name, and sent a message, Are you free this weekend? Let's have a meal together, soon, he replied. Yes, you pick the place. I put down my phone and gazed out at the deep night sky. The stars were sparse, but each one shone steadfastly in its own orbit. Me too. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you like this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.